I'm a lawyer. I used to work for the government in Sweden for about 8 years. In Sweden, we have basically two major laws that govern these types of illegal practices. The main one is the Swedish Penal Code, och det är brottsbalken, andra, tredje och fjärde kapitlet. And the second one is the organ and tissue removal laws, which is transplantationslagen och lag om genetisk integritet. So these are actually these two Swedish laws, transplantationslagen och lagen om genetisk integritet. They work together. The transplantation law came first in 1995, and then through an effort from the EU, this law was sharpened and some of the provisions were moved into lagen om genetisk integritet. And to sum it up, what this law says for Sweden is that anyone who, for profit, I'll read it in Swedish so you can understand what the Swedish law says. Den som för vinstsyfte överlämnar, tar emot eller förmedlar biologiskt material, det vill säga organ, från levande eller avliden människa, den personen döms till böter eller fängelse i 2 år. So this legislation came from an initiative from the EU. So obviously this is very good. And the Italians have a similar law that they made in 1999 that have similar penalties, a bit stricter penalties, but similar prisons and fines. But what happened in Italy now is, I believe you touched upon this law from the doctor. He was one of the initiative takers, yes. So they made a new crime in their penal code, which is makes it illegal in any way to do this practice. That is, to take organs and trade with them or use them for any purpose. And they made the penalties were prison 3 to 12 years and a fine of 50,000 up to 300,000 euros. So they made a clear distinction and a tougher set of penalties for these types of crimes. Now, if you look at Sweden, then of course it's good that we have this transplantation law that says it's illegal that for profit to take organs and to use them for. But this law only targets people who would do it for profit, or health professionals who would do it in any way to perform transplants. What we don't have is a section of the penal code, brottsbalken, that says that this practice would be illegal for anyone. And this is the main reason why I'm up here today. Because I think when I was making the review of these laws and looking at the Italian set of new regulations, having done some legislative work in the past, I worked with environmental stuff, and we had some work with the government to make some new, improve the environmental laws. It's actually a little bit surprising that the law about genetic integrity doesn't target the fact that anyone would travel to China and have this type of surgery performed. It's basically like saying it's illegal to produce drugs, it's illegal to sell them, but it's illegal to use them. To make a comparison, why didn't they go all the way and create something within the Swedish Penal Code? Now I know that this type of legislative work is difficult and takes time, but I would say for Sweden, where we are now, it is us making a stand against these like horrific things that Harold just talked about and that we saw on the video. Yeah, I believe that covers the basics of the legal. Obviously, there are more things to consider when you actually make new legislation, but that's the general idea.